Hello, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Iona Walters, I'm a Senior Solutions Consultant with Adobe, and I'm here today to share with you an exciting new development that we're releasing to you via the Creative Cloud and the powerful new functionality and workflow enhancements it will add to both Photoshop CC, Edge Reflow CC and beyond. Just under a year ago, we launched the first phase of the Creative Cloud, which provided Adobe's full suite of creative applications as a subscription. But more importantly, we launched the Creative Cloud as a platform for innovation. So as you know, one of the core drivers behind the Creative Cloud offering is that you're always getting something new. You no longer need to wait to get access to new features, products or services, and Adobe are continuing to deliver on that promise. And if you take a look at all of the new things that we released into the Creative Cloud in the first year, you'll find we actually updated something every single week. This is a staggering pace of innovation and is one of the main reasons our customers love it so much. In less than a year, over 500,000 people have joined the Creative Cloud with premium paid memberships, and there are over 2 million members in total, including those who are collaborating on files and projects with free memberships. As a member of the Creative Cloud, you get access to tools and services you never had before, and you can also be sure to get the newest developments the moment they are ready. So you can really take your creativity in new directions, learn new skills, and build your careers and businesses. Today we have a new Creative Cloud update for Photoshop CC 14.1 and introduce a brand new technology called Adobe Generator. This is specifically aimed at creative digital professionals who, in today's environment, are needing to produce multiple designs and assets for different screens, devices and platforms. But it's also intended for anybody who needs to extract assets from a larger design. Currently, this task requires people to repeat the same processes over and over and can involve creating new documents, cropping, resizing, slicing, all of which put huge demands on their time. For web designers, there are so many manual production steps to meet the challenge of designing for multiple devices across different screen sizes. So there's a real need to speed up their day-to-day production tasks and better collaborate across teams. And having worked in multi-platform production myself for many years, I'm really proud to announce a solution to this. Adobe Generator is a new platform that will usher in a new era of extensibility and customization to let you work in the way you want to work, all delivered as part of the Creative Cloud. Generator is a platform for communicating and sharing document data between Photoshop CC and other applications and services. Generator offers real-time access to document-level data in ways that were never possible before. We've made the core of Generator technology and our plugins open source, and the code is already hosted on GitHub, ready for you to download, edit, and to build new plugins with. Developers like the Engine Co have already been working with these plugins and have been able to create things like a real-time connection between a Photoshop design document and a running game, meaning that when they change the design in Photoshop, it changes in real time in the game, allowing for really rapid experimentation and change and development. Adobe's built 2 plugins to demonstrate the power of the Generator engine to generate image assets and reflow projects. The first enables you to generate image assets in real time directly from Photoshop, and the second provides connectivity between Photoshop CC and Edge Reflow CC, which is our HTML5 responsive web design tool. So let's take a look at Generator now and see those plugins in action and how they can improve your workflows. Here in Photoshop, you can see a design for a website that's going to work really nicely as a horizontal iPad layout. But in order for it to display correctly across different screen sizes and resolutions, I need to do a lot of work, not only to produce the responsive layout designs, but also all the individual image assets. And these images will need different optimized versions for different sizes, dimensions, and resolutions of screens. And all of this is really going to take up a lot of my time, both as a designer and a developer. So let's enable the Generator plugin, as this is really going to help me with these tasks. And now all I need to do is think very carefully about how I name the different layers and layer groups within my complex composition to have these assets automatically generated for me. So let's jump into the header group of layers and expand these nav elements. And you can see the Adventure Co logo sitting in here. And I know I need various versions of this particular element. The first I need is a PNG, so I'm simply going to add a .png to the name. The default is 32-bit, but you could also specify a 24 or an 8-bit simply by adding this number after the PNG. So let's make this a 24-bit PNG. I also need to produce a JPEG version, and I can again choose a compression level from this. I choose a number from 1 to 10, which I add after the .jpg. I'm going to leave this as the default at the moment, so just .jpg. As well as this, I'm going to create a 100 pixel by 100 pixel PNG size, and I simply add the 100 by 100 at the start of the name. And I'm also going to produce a 400 by 400 pixel PNG size. So I can add all of those names to the layer, as you can see, just by simply separating them with commas. And once I've specified all the images I need to be generated, I simply kick the generator into action. So let's take a look at the assets it's produced. You can see in the folder it's created the JPEG version, the PNG 24, the 400 and the 100 size logos. And as I mentioned, I can label layers within groups or groups of layers themselves to produce flat compositions of several layers. But the other thing I can do, and this is due to the live dynamic link that happens via the generator engine, is to make changes to this logo layer within the Photoshop document. For example, let's add a color overlay to it and make it nice and orange. And then if I jump back to the Finder window, you can see there it is, immediately updated. And this means that as long as you have the Generate Images option enabled, you can be sure to always have the most up-to-date image assets with relation to your Photoshop design. And any changes you make will be reflected in the assets you produce for the next stage of the website development. It's also worth mentioning that any pixel dimensions I specify for any image generation will actually force that asset into that size. So just make sure you're really clear about the aspect ratio of the original element before you specify the new pixel dimensions. I should also mention that we have support for SVG file formats coming soon, so do keep a lookout for that. So let's take a look at my fully labeled version of this design and see how quickly Generator can produce these image assets. So once again, I'll trigger the file Generate Images and browse to that folder. And you can see there's all my many assets being produced, super fast, dynamic, and ready for me to take to the next stage. So brilliant. How much time does that save? But that's not all that Generator has to offer. You can now also generate your reflow projects directly from Photoshop. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with Adobe Edge Reflow, but for those of you who aren't, this is our HTML5 responsive layout design tool. And to produce our reflow project, taking all of these elements within this design and interpreting the CSS styling relating to them, I simply select File, Generate, Edge Reflow Project. And now if I browse to the new folder that's been produced, you can see all of the image assets that have been specified to be created and also the project itself. So let's take a look at the results. Now, the first thing that will happen is that I'll be notified as to any font issues I may need to resolve. And as you can see here, there's a font that's actually just a desktop font within the Photoshop design, and that's Myriad Pro. And at this point, I can specify which font it should be replaced with. I can choose any of the standard web fonts, or indeed one of the 3 typekit fonts that have actually been used within this document. And these are fonts that I'd previously synchronized to my desktop via the Creative Cloud. So I'm actually going to choose the Sans Source Pro font. I also have the option of adding typekit fonts at this point. So if I've built a kit in typekit for this particular project, I just paste the typekit ID in here. So now we'll let Reflow do its work. It's taking all of these text elements, vector shapes, and the CSS information and image assets from the Photoshop layout to build the composition ready for us to start producing our responsive designs. And there we go. So you can see there's just a tiny bit of positioning that needs tweaking there with the text at the top, which I can quickly resolve. But otherwise, things are looking pretty good, and this has really saved me a lot of time. If I scroll down the document, you can see I have some live text in this paragraph here. And you can see the Sans Source Pro font that I specified earlier has been used. The font size has been nicely converted to EMs for me. and any other properties that may have been applied to this block of text, or indeed sections of it within Photoshop, for example the colouring, the styling, etc. This will all be translated into CSS here. I also have shape elements within the document, and if I select this rectangle I can of course change the CSS styling of it, no problem. And then of course the next thing that I would do is to select multiple elements within the layout and to start adding some hierarchy and responsive behavioural properties to these elements within the design. But that's not all, as we also have the ability to create multiple page layouts within the Reflow project. And I'm just going to jump back into Photoshop very quickly to show you this in action and open up the second page layout of the design, which is the About page of the website. And when I have this active in Photoshop and jump back into Edge Reflow, I can then select this new Photoshop icon, which is the Photoshop CC connector. This is powered by the Generator engine. And I now have the option to create a new page from this design layout, which is the one that's currently active in Photoshop. So let's do that. And of course, I'm once again notified of any fonts I need to take notice of. So let's just fix that. And here we go. Again, just one tiny position correcting to this top section of the text. There we go. But otherwise, this page is looking in great shape, and an awful lot of work, as you can see, has been done for me, which of course I'm delighted about. So I'm sure you can see that the generator is really going to make a difference to this multiple screen responsive design process. And it's going to save many digital creative professionals a huge amount of time on a daily basis. I've already found it extremely useful, and I'm sure you will do too. So I hope you've enjoyed this update. Do look out for information regarding new features, product updates and releases, as well as tutorials via my website, which is creativesneaks.com. You can follow me on Twitter @CreativeSneaks, as well as connecting via various other social media sites where I'll be updating you as to new feature releases, as well as when new content is published. And also look out for new videos on our Adobe UK YouTube channel. So thank you very much indeed for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.